All right, folks, welcome back. Today we're heading into the busy streets of Wuhan, China to explore a breakfast scene that takes the first meal of the day very seriously. Forget grabbing a quick coffee and rushing out the door. Here, breakfast is a full experience. The streets are already packed, food stalls are working at full speed, and the smell coming from every direction is making it extremely difficult to walk past without stopping. And trust me, you don't want to visit a place like this on an empty stomach, because once you start looking around, you're going to want everything. The first thing that catches our attention is the incredible speed of the local food vendors. The chefs are working right in front of the customers, preparing fresh food with impressive precision. There's no waiting around for hours. The ingredients go in,
the heat goes up, and suddenly breakfast is coming together. It's almost like watching a live cooking show, except there's one major difference. At the end of this show, you actually get to eat the food, and that's definitely my kind of entertainment. Now, one of the most interesting things about this breakfast street is the variety. There are sweet dishes, savory snacks, crispy treats, soft rice-based foods, and plenty of meals that look like they could keep you full for the entire day. Honestly, this is the kind of place where you arrive thinking you're going to try one thing and leave wondering how you somehow ordered 5. But that's the fun of exploring a local food market. You don't always know what you're going to find. Sometimes you just follow your nose. And around here, your nose is probably going to lead you straight to the nearest food stall. Now, let's take a closer look at the cooking. The chef is moving quickly, adding ingredients one after another and keeping everything under control. The cooking surface is hot, the food is sizzling, and the aroma is spreading through the entire street. That sizzling sound is basically the universal language of hunger. You hear it once, and suddenly your stomach has an opinion. The cooking continues, and the ingredients slowly transform into a fresh breakfast. The chef knows exactly when to add each ingredient, when to turn up the heat, and when everything is ready to serve. It may look simple from the outside, but there's clearly a lot of experience behind these techniques. And that's one of the best parts of watching street food being prepared. You're not just watching someone make food, you're watching someone practice a craft they've probably perfected over years. Now, the first dish is ready. One customer gets served, and before the chef even has time to relax, another order is already waiting. That's the rhythm of this street. Cook, serve, repeat, and apparently there is no slow mode. These chefs seem to have 2 settings, fast and faster. Meanwhile, the customers are waiting patiently. Well, mostly patiently, because when you're standing next to a hot pan full of delicious food, 5 minutes can suddenly feel like an entire afternoon. But the wait is worth it. Fresh food comes out, another customer leaves happy, and the next order begins. The cycle just keeps going. As we continue exploring, we see even more breakfast options. This is where things get dangerous. You see one dish that looks amazing, then you smell another. Then you notice someone eating something completely different. Suddenly, your original breakfast plan is gone. Your budget is gone, and your self-control is definitely gone. But that's okay. We're here for the food. One of the dishes that really stands out is San Xian Dou Pi. This is a seriously filling breakfast option, packed with rice and flavorful fillings. The preparation itself is fascinating. The chef carefully puts everything together, creating a dish that's both hearty and satisfying. This is not the kind of breakfast you eat and immediately think, I could use another meal. This is the kind of breakfast that looks at your appetite and says, challenge accepted. The outside gets that delicious golden finish, while the filling creates a combination of textures and flavors. And once it's ready, it doesn't stay on the counter for long. The customers are waiting. The food is served,
and another breakfast disappears almost immediately. That's the thing about good street food. You can spend several minutes watching it being prepared and then somehow finish it in 30 seconds. It's almost unfair, but we're not complaining. Now, the market continues to get busier. More people arrive, more food is prepared, and every stall seems to have something different happening. Some vendors are making sweet breakfast snacks, others are preparing savory dishes, and some are cooking meals that look big enough to count as breakfast and lunch at the same time. If you're someone who prefers a light breakfast, this might be a little overwhelming, because around here, breakfast is not playing around. This is serious fuel for the day.
The chefs continue working, and the process is always fascinating to watch. Fresh ingredients are prepared. The cooking surface gets hot. The food starts sizzling. and the chef gets to work. Everything happens quickly, but there is still a clear sense of control. The food is flipped, mixed, cooked, and served. All in just a few minutes. It's impressive to watch. And honestly, I don't think I could keep up for even 5 minutes. I'd probably forget half the ingredients and somehow burn the other half. So I'll leave this job to the professionals. Now, another interesting part of the experience is the atmosphere. People aren't just coming here to eat. This is part of their daily routine. Some people grab breakfast before work. Others sit down and enjoy their meal. Some are chatting with friends, and others are simply focused on one thing: getting their food. You can feel the energy throughout the street. Everyone seems to know where they're going. Everyone has their favorite food, and everyone looks like they know exactly what they want. That's the kind of confidence I want in life. No hesitation, no scrolling through a menu for 20 minutes. Just walk up, order, and enjoy. As we continue, another dish is being prepared. Once again, the ingredients hit the hot cooking surface. And here comes that familiar sizzling sound. At this point, I'm convinced that food sizzling in a pan is the best advertisement ever created. No fancy signs, no commercials, just turn up the heat. The food does the rest. The chef continues mixing everything together, making sure the ingredients are cooked properly. The colors start changing, the aroma gets stronger, and the dish gets closer to being ready. Then comes the final step. One last mix, one last check, and it's ready to serve. Another customer gets their breakfast. Another order is completed, and the chef immediately starts again. It's a non-stop operation. And that's what makes a busy breakfast street so interesting. There's always something happening. You can turn your head for a second and suddenly miss an entire cooking process. One moment, there's an empty pan. The next moment, there's a full meal sitting on a plate. That's some serious breakfast efficiency. Now let's look around. The market is full of different breakfast options. You could start with something sweet, move on to something savory, then grab something crispy, and finish with a filling rice-based dish. At that point, breakfast has officially become an all-day event. But honestly, why stop? We're already here. As the morning continues, the street remains busy. The chefs keep cooking, the customers keep arriving, and the food keeps disappearing. It's almost like the market has an unlimited supply of hungry people. And judging by the amount of food being prepared, that might actually be true. The chefs continue working with incredible speed. They know exactly what they're doing. Every movement is quick and deliberate. There's no wasted effort. And that's what makes their work so impressive. What looks like a simple breakfast to the customer requires skill, timing, and plenty of experience from the person preparing it. That's something you really appreciate when you watch the process up close. Now we're reaching the final part of our food adventure. But before we leave, there's one important lesson we've learned today. Never visit a food market like this when you're already hungry, because you will see something you want. Then you'll smell something else. Then you'll convince yourself that you have room for just one more dish. And before you know it, you're completely stuffed. But hey, that's what food adventures are all about. You explore, you try something new, and sometimes you eat way more than you planned. And honestly, that's not the worst problem to have. So if you ever find yourself in Wuhan, make sure you explore the local breakfast scene. Wake up early, walk through the busy streets, watch the chefs work, and try something you've never tasted before. You might discover a new favorite. You might find a dish you've never even heard of. Or you might accidentally eat enough breakfast to last until dinner. Either way, it's going to be an experience. Today, we've seen just how much variety and energy can fit into one breakfast street. From sweet and soft snacks to crispy treats and filling rice dishes, there's something for almost everyone. And the best part is watching everything come together right in front of you. Fresh ingredients, hot pans, fast hands, hungry customers. That's the formula. And it works. So the next time someone says breakfast is the most important meal of the day, show them this. Because after seeing all of this food, I think we can officially agree. Breakfast is serious business.
Thanks for joining us on this food adventure. And remember, if you ever smell something delicious while walking through a busy food market, follow the smell. Just make sure your stomach is ready, because one thing is almost guaranteed. You probably won't leave hungry. Until next time, keep exploring, keep trying new food, and maybe save some room for breakfast number 2.